When you're facing a guy with an assault rifle shooting live rounds, you've got two options. Either you die, and that's the end of your story, or you kill him so you can go home. Either way, it's a shit show. There are dozens of French volunteers fighting in Ukraine. Some of them had zero combat experience before. Now they're full-on professional soldiers, hitting hotspots and risking their lives every single day. When I think back to that moment, yeah, I really wonder how I made it out alive. Especially how I didn't take a single piece of shrapnel in the back. My back was untouched. In the end, I got insanely lucky. So what drives these young guys to fight Russians when their own country is thousands of kilometers away from the front lines? You'll get the answer, as always, at the end of the video. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion in 2022, these French guys couldn't just sit back and watch. Sure, France was one of the first to impose sanctions and send military aid, but for some, that wasn't enough. They packed up and headed straight to the front. Because when your national motto is liberty, equality, brotherhood, there's really no other choice. But before you hear their full stories, do us a favor and hit that like button. The more you support the video, the more people will see it. I made the decision to leave after seeing the images from Bucha and Irpin. I saw so many, how can I put it, atrocities committed against Ukrainian civilians. These guys knew exactly what they were signing up for. From day one, there were horrific videos of the fighting all over the news and social media. But none of that made the volunteers rethink their choice. During operations, from the moment we get into the infiltration vehicle to the point we reach the extraction zone and head back home, it's game on. This guy never served in the army before. He used to cook meals. Now, instead of holding a spatula, he's carrying a grenade launcher. The Ukrainian fight for freedom motivated this chef to leave his peaceful life behind and stand shoulder to shoulder with soldiers in the trenches. I heard about the creation of the Legion from the very beginning of the war. I had no combat experience before. I was a cook, a chef. I worked in various restaurants throughout France. Reading the news from Ukraine, I was surprised at how brave the people there were. At the beginning of the war, they had nothing to defend themselves with, but they still held back the offensive and pushed the Russians back in many places. This inspires great respect. His family and friends respected his choice. After all, helping a weaker man in a fight against a strong aggressor is a matter of honor for a guy. I informed them about my choice at the last moment, but of course they supported me because they understand how important it is for me to fight here for Ukraine and for Europe. Ukrainians deeply appreciate this kind of dedication to freedom. Every French volunteer gets treated with sincere respect and gratitude. It happens often that people stop us in the street, thank us, hug us, or hand us a small piece of chocolate or something like that. Russians like to call foreign volunteers in Ukraine mercenaries, claiming they're only here for personal gain. But is that really true? Let's hear the answer from this Frenchman himself. Not really. If you look at what the word mercenary means, it's being hired by a private company and earning more than a regular army. We come to Ukraine. We're enlisted by the Ukrainian army. We get the same salary as any regular Ukrainian soldier, whether conscripted or career military. We bring you real stories straight from the front line. Stay connected and hit that subscribe button. We seriously doubt that money motivates people to sit under shelling and constantly balance on the edge of death. Joining the army is a matter of honor. These guys have values and a will of steel. When artillery falls, it's 50-50. Let's not lie. With artillery, you hear the shell coming only in the last 3 seconds. You barely have time to hit the ground. But before heading into combat zones, the guys went through training under instructors with real combat experience. The next soldier served in the French Navy infantry on the Ukrainian training grounds. He not only refreshed his memory, but also picked up new skills. We spent 5 weeks there. The training was focused on CQB, close quarters battle, building assaults. It's all about clearing buildings when enemies are inside. After completing the training, he gradually started taking on frontline missions. Here's how the prep for one of those missions looked. A few hours before heading out, the group began gathering their gear. It's crucial to double-check that everything works and won't fail at a critical moment. So, I have 2 magazines that I need to pack into my bag. Then there's the helmet. Right now, I'm adjusting it for my night vision. We've got the plate carrier with actual ballistic plates inside and a tourniquet. That's absolutely essential. Every piece of his loadout was carefully chosen by the volunteer himself. When you're well-equipped, you naturally feel a lot more confident. A grenade pouch, and these aren't flashbangs to blind or stun. This is made to kill. I also have another tourniquet. Yeah, you can never have too many. And here, that's my assault rifle. Once everything was packed, the soldiers moved out to their sector. The mission was thoroughly planned, but as always, things didn't go according to the script. When the enemy is throwing every artillery caliber they've got at you, even the smartest tactic won't save you. You either shoot back or pray you're not the unlucky one. The initial objective was to storm certain buildings. It didn't go well. The first few hours in the morning were tough. We took a lot of artillery fire on our heads, mortars, glide bombs. Yeah, we got shaken up pretty badly. Could it have been worse? Absolutely. After barely surviving the heavy artillery shelling, Russian drones started circling overhead. Surviving in such conditions was nothing short of a miracle. Thanks to the experienced Ukrainian comrades, they managed to get out of there unharmed. It was technically possible to leave the building, but it would have been suicide. If you really wanted to end your life, sure, step outside, and you'd catch a drone strike right away. Many Frenchmen are fighting alongside Ukrainian soldiers in the infantry. This is a difficult path, because in this war, death is literally breathing down the neck of the infantrymen. As for combat, we have already participated in missions, not as a fire support group, but as simple light infantry. This French volunteer wasn't hiding behind anyone's back. He went on missions side by side with Ukrainians, including one that nearly became his last. Here's how it happened. That day, we were on a small reconnaissance mission. 3 of us were moving forward, 3 packs, through a thin forest line. The goal was to scout the area and then launch an attack. As we entered this stretch of forest, we spotted the first mines. While on reconnaissance, the Frenchman was severely wounded. He lost his leg. Luckily, the second mine didn't go off, and that's what saved his life. When I hit the mine, let's say I landed on another one. Fortunately, it wasn't triggered properly, so it didn't explode a second time, and we managed to disarm it afterward. This incident and the time spent in the hospital gave him a chance to reflect on life and reconnect with his family. After I got injured, I reconnected with my whole family because there were some complicated family stories. A close brush with death really makes you rethink a lot of things. It was a tough but honest fight. But Russians don't always fight trained soldiers. Hiding behind the excuse of fighting French mercenaries, they fired a missile at a residential building where Ukrainian civilians lived. There weren't even any military personnel nearby. A soldier can return fire, civilians cannot. Russia knows this and exploits it. Zero, huh? There were no French there, only civilians. I think there were 17 injured and 1 person killed, if I'm not mistaken. Just another fine example of Russian work hitting civilian homes and civilians. Protecting peaceful cities and people is one of the reasons why these French guys come to Ukraine to fight the Russians. Another reason is stopping Putin's army here before it marches on neighboring countries. If he succeeds, his troops will keep moving west, straight towards France. Since 2014, Ukrainians have been living in hell, so I came mainly for the civilians, and because I believe it's crucial to restore peace here. If we lose Ukraine, I believe Russia will want more. Another motivation for foreigners coming to Ukraine is real combat experience. For the past 30 years, the French army has been involved mostly in small-scale expeditionary wars. But the Russia-Ukraine war is different. 2 powerful armies clash in trenches reminiscent of Verdun. Both sides are heavily armed and use cutting-edge technologies on the battlefield. For the French, this war is not just a test of their own strength. It's a chance to learn a new military specialty and try out weapons they wouldn't get to use in their own army. For example, volunteers here get to fly drones or learn how to fight against them. Oh man, the rockets in the bunker. A Russian drone flew right into the bunker. The rockets right at the entrance. Yeah, we were really lucky. But in the moment, you don't even realize it. Another hero of our story found something in Ukraine he never experienced back home. The spirit of freedom. That's why, even after a severe injury, he decided not to leave. He stayed with his brothers in arms and now volunteers in a rear area Ukrainian city. This country inspires me. It's become a part of my blood because I lost a leg here. It's part of my story now. Ukraine will never leave me. The chef, as you know, believes that Ukraine is an integral part of European history. He felt that fighting for freedom together with Ukrainians was not just a desire, but an important mission. I consider Ukraine a European land, and the Ukrainian people a European people, and it is our duty to hear the Europeans, and it is our duty to protect the European land from aggression. These men didn't just watch history, they chose to write it with their own hands, and sometimes their own blood. Like this video and tell us in the comments, which country's volunteers would you like us to cover next? We'll pick from the most liked ones.